Now we'll move on to number 12, Yuba City Lodging Association.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Tara Locke. I'm the assistant to the city manager, and I'd like to introduce Jacob Young. He's the current president of the Yuba City Lodging Association. So back in June, you asked the Lodging Association to come back and talk about their current budget and their needs for or their request for additional funding from our hotel surcharge. So the Yuba City Lodging Association assesses themselves a 2% surcharge on their guest stays. This is in addition to the 10% hotel surcharge that Yuba City receives. The Yuba City Lodging Association is requesting a portion of the surcharge that is received by Yuba City to further reinvest in the tourism marketing campaign. So up here we have a list of some of their accomplishments that were listed in the staff report. So they also gave us a breakdown of some of the things that they could do with the different dollar amounts. So for $25,000, they can continue what they have been doing. And then it kind of goes up with the different dollar amounts to addition, what they can add further to the marketing and tourism program. And then it kind of goes all the way up to a total of about $125,000, which would be 10% of our total receipts for our hotel surcharge. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Young to come up.
Council members, good evening. And yeah, I know in concluding the staff report was some of the different allocations. Last time we were here, it was requested, one, to go back to the different jurisdictions. The city of Yuba City had concerns being the only jurisdiction supporting this effort financially. So we've gone before the different jurisdictions. Progress has been made. Yuba County has dedicated $15,000, which comes out to about 15% of their TOT fund. We've been continuing to work with Sutter County, with Administrator Smith and the administrative analyst out there as well, to continue to work on what their contribution amount will be. We don't have a firm amount from them yet, but we've had continual conversations up to this point, and we should hopefully get that finalized here within this next month. We've also have a meeting set up with the city manager of the city of Marysville, Marty Brown, this next week as well. She was out on vacation, so with the timing, she wanted to set it up once she returned from vacation to continue that discussion with the city of Marysville as well. So I'll be having that discussion with her. And I know we have a meeting scheduled with Audrey Taylor, who's working on the economic development plan for the city as well. So I'll be talking with her actually tomorrow to discuss the YSLA and how that benefits the economic development, especially as we're looking at long-term for the city on the most foundation moving forward. And so I know we asked one for the jurisdictional, second with a little bit more of a marketing plan, what we're going to do with any funds that are allocated. I know since the initial request was $127,000, which was 10% of the TOT fund, we've now known that 5% of that has been allocated to different initiatives that have been brought before council as well. So we reduced that down to the $63,000, which is now the 5% ask from that as well. So obviously these would kind of shift these numbers that were presented before. We just want to kind of show what the different initiatives are that we're moving forward with. And part of that kind of just highlighting the different elements of that. Obviously, $25,000 what we are currently budgeting. We're going to continue to budget that, whether or not the city decides to add additional funds. But we just wanted to showcase how much we're currently allocating towards that and what we would do with additional funds going forward. But with that, I know we've talked about what the YSLA is, what our initiatives are. I'd love to open it up for questions from the council.
She's gone. On those slides there,
yeah.
Are these all things that you're planning on doing anyway, or things you cannot do without our buy-in here?
So after the $25,000 slide, each additional slide would get to where it would either fund efforts that aren't going to be currently able to be funded with our current allocations, or expedite that process of something that might be more of a 5, 10, or longer term project that we would have to build up capital for, and especially when it gets down to the bigger items like kiosk and signage, things that we want to continue to enhance, especially taking advantage of people passing through the area to want to come and stay in the area. but that would take more time and effort, one with different organizations, but also with the different funding for that as well.
Through the mayor, thank you for being here tonight. Having a little familiarity with marketing, how are we going to determine our return on our investment? You're asking for a sizable amount of money. I'm looking at the 50,000 budget slide up there right now. I'm not exactly sure what a rustic wedding campaign is. I don't know which guides you're going to be producing, and the videos you've done so far I think are great. But I'm trying to figure out at the end of the day, how do we answer the citizens of this community as to how effectively we spent the money that we would be allocating to you?
Yeah, and definitely a valid question. That's what all of the lodgers are asking the marketing company too. How do we justify this when we go back before the lodgers and say, here's what we've done? How do we show that there's been progress? So obviously part of that is unmeasurable just due to the exposure that you receive. But the measurement that we're using is to see our progress of success is that TOT fund, because that is based off of taxation on overnight stays. So as we see TOT increase, part of that would mean that these efforts are seeing that return on investment of more visitors coming to our area, thus paying that tax.
I realize, and thank you for the answer. I realize that you've been able to get some funding from Yuba County.
Yes, sir.
How close are you to finding out what Sutter County and/or Marysville are actually going to give to this effort?
Yeah, I was hoping to have had the answer from Sutter County before tonight, just so we could have a little bit more of that robust regional answer for you. So I'm hoping within this next month. I know it's been continuing to get progress, but they haven't determined that final amount. I know it's been discussed any different amounts throughout that, but they haven't given a even kind of tentative number on that yet. But we should know here within the closing of this month.
In your opinion, is Hard Rock going to come into the fold and also support this effort?
They haven't written anything on that yet, but they are very supportive of the effort. Right now, on our initial conversations, before they get their doors open in November, they don't want to commit to anything until doors are open and customers are coming. But it sounds like we'll be going back in November after they've opened their doors to continue that conversation. But with the management that's there, they're very supportive. They see the mutual benefit of them being a part of this effort as well. So it looks like they will most likely be doing that by the beginning of this next year, after they've had some time to meet payroll, get the ball rolling with their business, and then they will talk to us about joining the YSLA and that 2% going from there as well.
So here's the toughest question probably is, what's the minimum you need from us?
Well, I mean, obviously, from you, the more that you give, the more that we're able to put to use. So, I mean, minimum, I mean, that's, I'm not going to say we need an X amount, just because that is more up to you to determine with your budget how much you want to invest in this effort, basically, or contribute alongside of. So whether that's 0 or 63,000 would be pretty great, but obviously anywhere in between.
It'd be a tough question. So.
Yeah, I know, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
I have a question. My question is in the 15,000 that Yuba County
Yes, ma'am.
Committed. What did you commit to Yuba County within that $15,000 budget?
Yeah, so we're going to come back before them at their at the springtime, as they are coming on the tail end of their fiscal year. Similar to what we do here on an annual basis with our plan, but to let them know specifically how their $15,000 were allocated and what that was used towards specifically. And so that is what they've agreed to of funding this effort. They didn't say like, here's what we agreed to with this in place, but they agreed to give that 15% with us coming back before them to let us know how that was utilized at the spring, at the close of the fiscal year, as to make that determination for future contributions.
So the 15,000 was not dictated in any way. They just committed to the 15,000. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct. Just to continue to enhance the marketing plan that's there to move forward these similar initiatives that you're seeing before you tonight.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Have you looked at the potential revenue from Hard Rock? If that was the case, are you looking at that 2% with them, or what's the conversation?
That's in order to be a part of the association to receive what the other lodgers are putting into it would be that 2%. They'll be one of the biggest lodgers in our region as far as beds are concerned. And so I don't know as far as figures based off of their occupancy yet, but yeah, that will definitely be what we're moving forward to, getting them a part of having a voice in this regional marketing effort, but at the same time
Right.
contributing to it as well.
Okay. Within this fiscal year, you have projections of how much of that 2%
Mhm.
the group or the partner, the lodging partners are potentially going to earn.
Correct.
There's a budget number there, correct? Do you know that number amount?
Yeah, we're budgeting off of a $300,000 budget
Okay.
for this fiscal year.
So within that 300,000 budget that you have in place, what is it that you're utilizing that budget? What are you utilizing that money for?
Yeah, so a big part of that was so far has been to get the website launched, to get the brand moving forward. Starting right now, moving forward, we're continuing to get a visitor's guide in place for this upcoming year. We have social media presence and digital presence, meaning through Google and different platforms. We're targeting the Bay Area market for a lot of people who want to come and get a semi-local but far enough away trip to get out of the city and into more of our region. The most successful campaigns so far have been in the hunting campaigns and also birding and fishing. So a lot more of that outdoor recreational component that you can't really get in the Bay Area or the metropolitan area.
So my question to you, if you go back, can you go to the slides of 15,000? I think what 15 or is it 25 is the minimum? 25. You're asking for digital advertising and branding awareness.
Right.
Go to the next one, please. 50,000 produced external branding. So have you not already produced external branding awareness based on the videos that you have in place? And have you utilized the 300,000 to establish those? Those are my questions.
Yeah, so we have the continuation, and we have a monthly budget of 25,000 to continue to push forward different initiatives, including like the rustic wedding campaign. With that idea being, reaching out to the Bay Area as well as even Sacramento, and then more local, but starting with that Bay Area market for people, brides looking to do different weddings, to come to have that rustic experience, barnyard type wedding, which Yuba City area has a lot of those venues set up to do that. But with additional funding, that's why I said 25,000. We're going to continue to do that. It would just kind of continue to amplify that. But to produce additional videos, a lot of people wanted to see specific videos on different markets like hunting or fishing.
Right.
So instead of like a big 2-minute overarching video, to focus on specific segments, to put that into bigger publications or bigger segmented marketing campaigns on those specific items.
Well, as everything that we do in the city, we have to be very transparent and clear how we utilize public funds, because this is our job to make sure. And so I guess my question to you is, with the 300,000 that you already have in place for 1920, are you able to accomplish all those things that you've already listed in your budget with that $300,000 existing budget? Because I'm not clearly hearing the need for additional funds in my perspective, based on what you're telling me and the information that I have. Is that a fair statement, or am I presuming this in the wrong direction?
No, that's good. Semi-fair. I mean, because a big part of that would be to continue to build off of what's there to get additional exposure. Once we get in,
does $300,000 enough for you to do what you need to do?
Yes, that's what we build our budget off of, our game plan off of, because we can't build a plan off of money we don't have, essentially, if we were to receive additional
Correct.
funds.
So you could still function without us contributing additional funds to you?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Through the mayor. Thanks for being here again tonight. Thanks for being here again tonight. I know that we sent you back to ask for all the other jurisdictions and to bring us more of a plan. I think my fellow council member got to the root of the question we're all trying to drive to, and this is an investment for all the municipalities. And ROI right now, the mechanism you're talking about, just seeing that number go up, really doesn't drive it, because quite honestly, the number's going to go up as soon as Hard Rock opens, because there's approximately, is it 300 rooms they're going to have out there, I believe? Or
correct, but they are
170?
Sovereign.
Okay, 170.
And they're a sovereign land, so they actually don't pay into that tax figure at all.
Okay, but as far as the tourism revenue going into stays in the hotels, so if you'll be able to track that, what's going to be the telltales when we look across the demographics of Yuba City, Marysville, and the two counties, to see if all of a sudden our numbers go down, And basically, we just have transplants out at the Hard Rock because they're staying there versus staying at hotels within our cities and municipalities. Um, you also stated, and I agree with my fellow council members, that when you were here the very first time, you said the budget was built, you could accomplish everything without another dime at this point. Um, going through the slides, you just hit on it. The biggest opportunity we have is with sports, as far as hunting, fishing, things of that nature, our river here. But yet through these, I see more now rustic weddings and things of that nature than what was targeted as our major asset, which is the natural resources. Um, I really think a year from now, we'll be able to have a more solid foundation. Things that I'm more interested in is what are we talking about with external brand awareness, the specific regional assets and for the informational guides, because we can spend $50,000 and reach no one. I get advertisements all the time for my business going, advertise your service, on the magazines, it's on the airplane. It's the last thing somebody wants to do when they're on the airplane is figure out, hey, I want this type of service or I want to buy a tractor, no pun intended. But, but we got to me, I need to know more about where are we actually targeting? How is our ROI going to be calculated? We've got to get the hotels that are part of this to really track where people are coming from. Are we having regional people come? Are we coming from across the nation? What are those percentages? Numbers start telling us things. Right now, I see a lot of great concepts, but is it worth spending an extra $50,000 right now on a concept? We could just be throwing, darts against the wall right now. Where do we hit? I'd like to see it more developed. Almost be laser focused on what your plan is going to be, because ultimately we want to see the return on investment, which is more people coming to our area, more people staying in our hotels. And with the resources, my opinion is we could probably do more within our city to help you by reallocating, like we've done with others, with a homeless officer and things of that nature, to help our community be more presentable to people that are coming to our city to be here. Let's take the fishing, for example. If someone comes here to fish, they're going to go right down the river and it's going to be homeless camp after homeless camp after homeless camp. That's not really attractive to someone that wants to get out of the city and go have a quiet time fishing. So my opinion is I think we could do you more good on a different front, and then we can reevaluate this in about a year once Hard Rock is open and we really see what that impact is going to be to our community. So just my thoughts.
Thanks for your insights.
I'm Cindy, the new tourism coordinator for Visit Yuba City. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that with some of our money, we're the presenting, helping the Chamber of Commerce, we're the presenting sponsor for the Swan Festival, which is helping a lot of people with the demographics. We can track where the clicks are coming from. So a lot of them are coming from San Francisco, from the Bay Area, and it just doesn't help the hotels. It also helps the local businesses, your restaurants, also the fishing guides and all that type. I do agree that we do need the homeless cleaned up, but we all need to kind of, there's a little bit more that we are bringing here. And our homeless is bad, but go to Sacramento. I mean, that's real bad. So, I agree that it's bad, but we are doing extra stuff with the money to get people here. So, anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
The only comment I have is the Hard Rock. We're hoping that they contribute to tourism. They don't have to. They don't have to give a dime. They're the tribe. We're hoping that they do. They say they're going to help, but how much are they going to help? Yuba County gave a $15,000 donation to help these folks, and that's before the Hard Rock has even opened the doors. They've given, that was what, 10%, 15%?
It was 15% of
That was
their TOT budget
15%.
this year.
The Sutter counties, it's on their agenda for the next meeting, I believe, but no one knows how much it's going to be. And it does help. You know, it's like Cindy said, it's not just the hotels. It's going to help our restaurants in our community, and so on and so forth. I know we have a budget. It's a tight situation and stuff like that, and these folks are doing a great thing for the community, not just, you know, for the hotels, but for all the businesses in our community. They're doing a great thing. And myself personally, I'd like to help them for what we can do, and I'd like to make a motion or recommendation that we don't need to wait for Sutter County or Marysville or whatever, because Marysville has they only have one hotel in the community itself, and then Sutter County, we don't know. But I don't think we don't need to make these folks wait. They did what they were asked to do. They tried, and the people didn't come through for them. But I'd like to give them a little something. I'd like to make a recommendation of $25,000 to help them with tourism. That's it.
Anybody from the public care to comment? No. All right. Thank you very much for the recommendation. Just real quick, I can appreciate especially what you said, Cindy, in you are recognizing something we're dealing with up here is more than just heads and beds. It's the entire community, and not just Yuba City, but the entire Yuba Sutter community that we want to try to benefit. And that's our perspective, right? So I do appreciate that, a recognition of that. We have to keep that in mind, the bigger picture. One question I have for you, Jacob, or any of you, is ag tourism perhaps on your radar anywhere at all?
Definitely, especially as we have different tours that we set up. The ag is a big indicator of that, especially, I mean, agriculture in general is such a big industry, but even between wine tours, you know, promoting the different wineries in our region, and different crops that we have, and even Peach Festival, but also just the agricultural bent itself will definitely have different tours and different programs set up for that.
All right. I guess we'd have to get other private partners. I'm thinking Bishops, I'm thinking Apple Hill, things like that. Cindy, yes?
No, that's good. Yeah.
As a new tourism coordinator, one of my things is I'm supposed to do is to come up with events, itineraries. I've just heard, and I'm not, might be speaking out of context, but Highway 99 corridor is supposed to be named the Farm to Fork corridor, partially of, you know, of our county by Gallagher. He's put something through, and it's going to get done. One of my hopes, and I'm already starting to work with some different farmers, is to have a Farm to Fork series and have it at each and every type, like Stevens for peaches, watermelons, have something at every single crop that we grow. We'll have something walnuts featuring walnuts. We'll have something in almonds featuring almonds, walnut, prunes. You know, we have Sunsweet, the largest. That's one of my goals, and I've already been working with people to get that in the process. But with the late in the season, I have to realize, you know, I got to slow down, and it's realities next year on that. So that is in the works. When you ask about the, you know, taking advantage of our farm, yeah, that's one of our big issues. And I don't know if you guys have taken some time just to look at the Visit Yuba Center website, visitYubaCenter.com. It is a pretty cool website with different stuff on there to do. We have wineries, do wine tours, and we're giving people ideas also. Not just say, here, we have this, we have that. Giving them an itinerary so that, hey, yeah, I can go have wine, but then spend the night, and the next day go on a hike or go to Gray Lodge, something like that. Something to do within our community. So anyway, that's kind of what we're working on too.
So you're saying, which I'm happy to hear also, is that you want to create more of an experience around the crops
That's
versus
exactly
just
right.
somewhere to
What
come
we're
buy
doing
some.
is rebranding the
Okay.
area.
That's
That's
good.
what our goal is. We're rebranding. We're going to be the coolest, hippest place to come to. Everybody's going to want to come. I mean, I have some even more ideas, but I got to run through them first. So, But yeah, we got a lot of plans going on, more
right.
than that we've discussed tonight.
All right. I also understand, I'm sure we all do, the complexity or difficulty it is to put something like this because
Exactly.
you, like Jacob said, you can't really plan for money you don't have. So the more you can use $1 million, I bet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll take
I
a
bet you
million.
could. So it's hard to quantify, but we
Exactly.
need that.
Yeah. Exactly.
For example, that word up there, specific regional assets. I would have loved to know what the specific regional assets were that you had in mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
On the slide there. So just little things like that. But I'm happy to hear the extra information you're giving. It looks like I'm about to get more info here in a minute.
Okay. Okay. Well, it is in the YLSA funding allocation breakdown for restaurant guide, winery guide, hiking trail guide, etc. to spread awareness to tourists.
That's good.
So yeah. Thanks.
And well, I can go on and on, but
Yeah.
I get it. So thank
Okay.
you very much for the
All right,
presentation,
cool.
for being here. This is, it is an action item, so I will entertain more comment or a motion, or not.
I guess I have one more question.
Yes.
The slides show a variety of different requested amounts, but the requested amount in the staff report doesn't seem to match up to any of the requested amounts. What's the 63,730? Was that just a percentage of the TOT?
Yeah, after we had come through this amount, we had found out that the 10% original ask, 5% of that had already been allocated to other initiatives approved by the council.
Mm-hmm.
So this was that original 127. We had understood that part of that had already been reallocated, and so that's why we reduced that down, which doesn't match these amounts from when this was put in to now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna try it again. I'd like to make a recommendation,
Motion.
a motion. I'd like to make a motion, see how this works out for them, and they'll come back again next year. I'd like to make a motion to give the Lodge Association $25,000.
We have a motion. We have a second on that? No. No. I will second that. I think our friends across the river, they've got some skin in the game. I don't see a problem with us throwing some in as well. Although I definitely understand and appreciate the differing opinions, but I will second that motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
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 So that motion fails. But thank you for coming. We'll keep on going at it. Okay. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.